This resulted in a win for Hamilton and a fourth place for Rosberg, leading to further tension between the two drivers in what would prove to be Rosberg's Drivers' Championship winning year. Track temperatures over previous years have shown this race to be a hot one. 2019's race recorded temperatures nearly 50 degrees Celsius mark.
Good evening everyone and welcome back to RTG TV. Bear with me a second, we'll get this started again. Bear with Right, take two. Welcome back to RTG TV for Burnt Rubber Racing. Apologies, I wasn't available last week to do the commentating, so that's why you missed out on the 8th round of Saudi Arabia. So apologies for that, but what a good race we're hopefully going to have in store for you this evening at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. The Austrian circuit has 10 corners, it's 6 to the right and 4 to the left. 3 DRS zones, it's 4.18 kilometres and 2.688 miles in length. The first time here in 1970, and we'll be running the C5 soft, C4 medium and C3 hard tyre. As you can see, Chuckle is running the intermediate on his first lap. We don't do the intermediate championship in Burnt Rubber Racing, but he's giving it a go, seeing as we've only got 15, as you can see, for tonight's race. The championship standings, and if you're wondering who won last week, it was Paul Jones, who is now a full-time driver for Aston Martin, and second place was second place was Mark Bowe, or Bowe, I get those confused with the no, Mark Bowe was second and Chuck was third, and he's leading the championship. Mark Bowe is in second, down by 54 points, 171 points for Chuck. As you see, Chuck going wide there on the intermediates out of the final corner. Third place is Paul Jones after having 3 wins on the bounce. Chuckle is after that in fourth, and Super Striker is fifth. Williams are on 177 points, 145 points for Mercedes, and Ferrari on 119. So we've had the first lap showing up on the board. The benchmark was a long time ago that I've got down here, 104.258. I'm sure we will beat that even in short qualifying. Is a 104.9 there already, and we should potentially get into the 103s. I think a 104.8 for Paul Jones, just starting to warm up there and getting a decent time in, as well as Alex Noble, a 104.9. So those three are the only drivers so far to get into the 104s. Everyone else are in the 105s or further back from that. Is Ross Northover coming through the penultimate corner. Joachim Rindt, the final corner, and 6th fastest for Ross Northover. Who is the next car? I believe it's going to be Chuck, as he makes his way around turn 5 and now turn 6 and ending the second sector. And he's absolutely flying. It's purple sectors in the first 2 as he makes his way down to turn 9. Joachim Rindt, of course, the only Formula 1 driver in history to win a Formula 1 championship after he's passed away. as we go around the final corner, and he goes on to provisional pole for this sprint event, and we'll have 12 laps of a sprint race and 36 laps later on for the main event. Just so you guys know, as Percival starts his lap going through turn 3 now. And down to turn 4 of Roach. And turn 5, really a nothing corner. He set a personal best in the first 2 sectors, obviously to be expected as it's his first lap. One nice thing for me on my screen, I can always see just the top 16, but today I can see everyone, seeing as we've only got 15, a little bit more of an intimate group. 106.217 for Percival. As Bootneck is on an out lap, and so is Wookie as he now exits the pits and goes past that new bit of tarmac there where they use for the MotoGP now is turns 2 and 3. Yeah, turn 2 and 3, and then our turn 3 is their turn 4 now because it was much too dangerous. And that's why it was altered for them. Some people speculated that it would be the same for Formula 1, but wasn't the case. I'm glad it wasn't. Turn 6 for Wookie now on his out lap, making sure the tyres are warmed up. Has used a bit of battery on his out lap though. Going to try and not use too much. His Super Strike is actually on a lap behind him on the circuit as he goes through turn 4 of Roach, and now turn 5, as I said, an absolutely nothing corner, and then turn 6, a very fast corner, and he invalidates on the exit. Something else to watch out for at this circuit, and the gravel is quite close if you run wide and even wide. Formula 1 cars of this generation, so it's quite easy to get close to the gravel, and then pushed it too hard and would have invalidated his next lap, which it has done, and he was 3.5 tenths up, which should have put him in 3rd place. How is Wookie getting on? Not so well, as he's invalidated his lap time. And Chuckle, I believe that lap time was set on the intermediate. There we go, it certainly was. On the softs now, Chuck taking all purple all over the circuit. All of those sectors are his for now. Let's see if anyone can snatch some of those times away and maybe get themselves onto provisional pole position. Chuckle now making his way through turn 8, flat out, and then turn 9 of Joachim Wendt. And the final corner up towards the line. And he goes on to the front row, 4 tenths back from his brother in the Williams. And a very decent time from him. He did take purple in that final sector. Always grinding now, just about to start his first attempt, or hopefully to complete his first attempt. So that isn't right, is it? Completes an attempt, maybe he's already done one as he goes through the turn 1 of the Lauda curve. Through this winding section, this slight left of turn 2. Hard on the brakes for turn 3, the hairpin. It says he's taken a purple sector 1, he hasn't. It's a 16.1 for always grinding in the first sector. Not a bad first sector time by any means. He's got a very good exit out of turn 1, obviously, through Roach corner. He now makes his way through that tricky start of sector 3, turn 7 and 8, and now turn 9. staying well within track limits, making sure to try and open the corner just before he turned into the final corner, and then missed the apex whilst doing that, and goes 9th fastest, and 105.3 for him. We've got just over 7 minutes left in the session. Morph looks like he's on a lap here. He isn't going faster in the first sector though. And Paul Jones going on to provisional pole there and setting a very, very good time, but only just under 400ths of a second ahead of Chuck. So those two are very, very close. I believe Paul had it's just lost it on my screen, but Paul had the purple second and third sector. Chuck still having a very good first sector, just over 16 seconds, 16.055 in the first sector, which is very quick actually. There's not a huge amount of time you can gain in sector 1. It's only turn 1 really. And he's gained 2 or 3 tenths off of the majority of cars. As Mark Bowe, he's down in the first sector as he makes his way through turn 3, and now down the hill, down the second of 3 DRS zones here at the Red Bull Ring. Let's see what kind of time he puts in the second sector and see if he's up or down. He's up. He's up by almost a tenth and a half. Just a personal best second sector. It's a very competitive second sector time, and he decides to come in. There's still a lot of time on the clock though. He's right about going slowly. He would just have the fuel to finish, but he decides to come into the pits. 11 of the 15 drivers are in the pit lane at the moment, so very quiet out on the circuit. Is Wookie on a lap? I think he is, but he's almost 2 tenths down on his previous time. Let's see what he does in this middle sector. Just a slight dab of the brakes there, and into the final sector, just making his way up to what looks like the pit lane entry. I think drivers have been told to stay on that inside where it doesn't actually punish you in game, but the admins and stewards will punish you after the race if you don't stay to the right hand side of that white line coming into the pits. I think they'll let you get away with maybe straying a wheel over the line, but the majority of the car has got to be in the pit lane at the very least, I would imagine. But they may not. They may not give you any opportunity to take any kind of advantage into the pits. You might just have to keep the whole car on or to the right of the white line coming into the pits. Super Striker, the only driver on the track. As you can see, he's only running with 30% battery. So I don't believe he's on a lap here. He's down on his time, as you can see, so I'm sure he's going to bail into the pits. Don't bail in, do you? Bail out. I suppose bail out of the lap and dive into the pits. So the track now getting busy again as the clock ticks down. Of course, the shortest qualifying time of the season, not just this season, of any racetrack on the 23 or 24 F1 calendar. I think last time we had a lap time or a qualifying lap time slower. Come on, Joe, get with it. Quicker than this time. With the outer layout, the Sakir Grand Prix in 2020 from the easy alternative layout at Bahrain. So are there some drivers on the lap? I think Alex Noble is, and I'm not sure if Murphy's getting in the way of some. He opts to stay out, or was he out a little earlier on? But anyhow, Alex Noble is on the lap. He set a personal first sector as he dices at the wheel to get it turned in for turn 5. Got to make sure it's dialed in for turn 6. And what's his second sector going to be? 3 1/3 tenths up on his lap time, and that is a purple sector 2 for him. A 28.8 as he tries to grab a toe from turn 8 down to Joachim Rindt into turn 10. Make sure to keep well within track limits. You know that you can invalidate easily out of the final corner. He goes on to provisional pole for the sprint race. And we've got drivers now coming across the line for their final laps. Some of them too early on and not going to actually see the checkered flag on a flying lap. And Bootneck drives into the pit, so he's not going to be improving at all. He's always grinding. Is one of the last drivers yet to start their lap. As Ben T. Smith has now joined us. I did forget to say that he was joining us late. The other thing to note is I think we've got wet conditions in the race. I'm not sure if it's the sprint or the race, but it's one of the two. I think it's the race, as Ben T. Smith now dives into turn 3 for his one and only lap in qualifying as the checker flag is about to come out. And one of the Mercs is about to see that checker flag. It's Mark Bowe. He's down on his time. He'd invalidated anyway. Who is the driver next? I think it might be Little Majin. And he crosses the line, stays 12th. Chuckle crosses the line, stays 5th as well. And he was invalidated his time. Also, as Alex Noble is set at 104.372. Last time around, I don't believe he was quicker this time. Here comes Ben T. Smith for his one and only lap. It doesn't look like it's going to be the best lap. It isn't. It's a 105.173, and it's just outside of the midfield. Two more drivers to come. It's Percival and Morph. Morph being the driver up first, but he is going slowly as Percival crosses the line. And where did that put him? It's 15th for him. And that means Alex Noble is on pole for the sprint. Paul Jones will be starting second. Chuck will be third. Fourth will be Super Striker Chuckle. Fifth. Sixth is Ross Northover. Seventh is Nobby Bootneck. Mark Bowe is 8th, always grinding 9th. Murph is the last driver inside the top 10. Ben T. Smith is 11th. Not a bad lap, to be fair, for his first attempt. I was a little bit harsh. Morph is 12th. 13th is Wookie. 14th, Little Majin. Percival 15th. And Pro Live is 16th for the race. For the sprint race, I should say. So, the majority going for the medium tyre. As I say that, Chuck goes on to the softs, and he's the only one of 16 to change to the soft tyre. And there's another Paul Jones, Chuck, and Mark Boat always grinding, opting for the soft tyre. It depends whether they use them all in the qualifying session, but I think the sets do get allocated slightly differently. Of course, we will have the formation lap, but we're just getting a little insight onto what tyres people are going to go on to for the race, for the sprint. Obviously, unless they need to for damage or whatnot, or maybe a safety car, we shouldn't see any, well, we won't see any strategic pit stops. That just wouldn't make sense. So 11 drivers on the mediums now, and 5 of them on the softs. So I wonder if that will stay for when we get going on the formation lap. So while we wait, guys, make sure to keep subscribing to the channel. The last race tomorrow for GP2 as well. Make sure to come and watch that one. It's in Qatar. And there's 3 points between Pippa Kennedy and the driver in third place, Chuck, for that title. So make sure, if you're watching tonight, to tune in tomorrow at 8 o'clock for the full qualifying in 50% race distance at Qatar, or the championship of season 15, the final round of the championship. We'll see if it can be 2 out of 2 for Pippa Kennedy tomorrow as well. If he can take 2 titles in a row, just like Josh McGill has done in Monday, and I believe that would be the only time in RTG history that 2 different drivers from 2 different tiers have won 2 titles on the bounce each. So, but you can't say that if that would be the case, that Thursday's been at all boring, because there's been so many drivers up there, and just a few now just fallen off a little bit, and it's just left with the 2 that are closer than as close as they ever have been. Anyway, tyres for this one, this sprint race that's coming up, 12 laps. A couple of other drivers decided to change their minds. Morph has been disqualified and is now waiting on the grid. Subsequently, we'll be having cold tyres to start the race as well, just to keep the driver whilst they're down, really. 3 drivers on the softs: Chuck, Chuckle and ProLive down in 16th and last. The final driver on the grid today. Wait for 8 rows of cars to form up on the grid. One of them already in their position. So we've had Bootneck retire as well. Well, get disqualified, should I say. As we're about to get ready to go. See if we can get a good camera angle. Looks like it's all going to be horrible. And we're about to get underway. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 red lights. And we're away for Burnt Rubber Racing's 9th round, should I say, in the season. As we go up into turn 1, Alex Noble is still leading us out of Nicky Lauder. Up the hill towards turn 3 we go now. We've got yellow flags flying. Ben T. Smith is round at the Lauder curve. Lil Majin as well. He's fallen down a few places. As Paul Jones tries to go up into the lead around the outside, and does so at turn 3. And he's trying to make it another win for him this season. And he's won every race on the bounce since he's been with us. Anyone else going for a move? Looks like always grinding. ProLive and more for fighting for position here. Morph obviously maybe not getting the best of starts after being disqualified and having to wait on the grid with cold tyres, and it's already it's still having an effect on him in the second half of the first lap as his teammate Wookie gets past Little Majin. And we go on to the second lap, and Chuck hoping that the soft tyres are going to be working that little bit better than the medium tyres, and it looks like he's got a good launch out of Nicky Lauda. As we brake for turn 3, he's up into the lead again as Wookie defending the inside to Pro Live on the soft tyres, started in 16th and is up 3 places in just a lap and a half, as the American of Always Grinding trying to go the long way round on Morph as he now barges his way back through, defending the inside and then just cutting across in front of him to make sure to maintain 10th place out of turn 4, as we're now about to see DRS enabled as Little Majin is spun and about to have Ben T. Smith all over the back of him. So DRS now enabled, and we'll see it for the first time up the hill here towards turn 3. Is Paul Jones going to have enough straight line speed with DRS to help him along as well to get past? He's forced to the outside, he's trying to outbrake him, but I think Chuck may have the DRS this time, because when they went over the activation point, he certainly does. Paul does get in the lead, but is Chuck going to be able to get the place back going down into turn 4? He tries to slide it up the inside, he leaves him space on the outside as well. Chuckle looking to see where he can place his car. Paul Jones again now to the inside. These two have been side by side for almost half a lap here, as around turn 7 and 8 and down towards the penultimate corner, all happen to go single file through this section, and everyone within 1 second of one another down to 9th place, and then it's always winding with 1.5 seconds back to Bootneck as we go on to the 4th lap, and Always Grinding setting the fastest lap there, as I say, that trying to get himself within that 1 second margin. The Super Striker getting past Alex Noble here, the Ferrari overtaking the Alfa Romeo, and this over the last few weeks we're going to be able to see the Alfa Romeo as we're going to move to F124 and see the Kick Sauber team from F124 and 25 until we get Audi, of course. As Chuckle now trying to send it the long way round. Sorry, I've just missed the camera angle there, and I think he's just got past. I'm really sorry for not catching that, and Chuck is come a cropper at turn 4 as well, and he's now down in 10th place. Luckily he doesn't get overtaken by 1 or 2 of the McLarens behind him. The Super Striker now somehow has got up into 2nd place, with Chuckle leading. He must have died to the outside. Sorry, I pressed the button one too many times and went all the way back to 16th. Super Striker now on the inside into Nicky Lauda. He's going to have to defend now and make sure he gets a good launch out of the first corner, because he's going to have to defend without having DRS to help him along as well, as Chuckle now goes around the outside again. And DRS just so effective, and that's why you see so many changes all throughout the race and even lap here at Austria, because we've got 3 DRS zones and just this middle sector of a handful of corners, and then back to DRS zones again. on to lap 6, and we're almost at the half point of this sprint race. As you see Chuckle there, having to fight the car through turn 1. Obviously just carrying a little bit too much speed. Super Striker decides to hold back here and hoping in the next few laps that the medium tyres will be the better choice of the two at that point in the race. Just hoping that the softs don't last to the end. Obviously Chuckle thinking the exact opposite. Maybe just nursing the tyres a little bit at this stage. The DRS train now all the way down to 12th place. As we've got a car around, is that maybe not a car around, maybe they just came together slightly in Pro Live now, who moved up a few positions after starting in 16th, finds himself back in 16th again. As we now reach the half point of the sprint race and climbing up the hill to the Lauda curve. The most important corner exit on the track, because you've got this long uphill climb which will obviously lose you speed, and drivers behind having DRS to help them along. As you can see from Super Striker here, he tries to squeeze Chuckle out and using the inside line to be able to do that, and now having to defend after Chuckle passed the detection point after Super Striker as I'm going 3 wide there into turn 4. Very, very close racing at the moment. It's just to be expected though here nowadays. It's so good for league racing. Some would argue it's the other way around because no one can break each other, but I think from an impartial opinion, it's brilliant. Mark Boat thought about it, but thinks turn 3 or turn 4 is a better option for him. See again, the leader losing ground to the driver behind with DRS as they all get on the brakes for turn 3. But also, I don't think we can rule out the fact that maybe just a huge amount of these drivers are so similar on pace as well. I'm sure some drivers are saving a little bit, especially battery. Tyres as well, of course, and not too much longer to go as Mark Bow has seen an opportunity here to go to the right hand side, to the inside at Joachim Rindt and gets past. Don't see too many moves there. Got it done at the right time as well to still maintain DRS as we see the first time penalty of the sprint race. Pro Live 3-second time penalty for too many warnings and going over that white line one too many times, 3 times to be precise. The last 2-3 laps of this is going to potentially be something else here. Is oh, apologies. Sorry, that really snuck up on me there. As Morph's trying to sneak up the inside of Always Grinding and can't really hide from him anymore, can he? He's got the McLaren ahead of that Ferrari. As we go through the last sector with the leaders. I say leaders as you can see, just this big train that's just now coming through the final corner. How many seconds are between 1st and 12th? You're probably wondering. I'll put it up on your screen, but before I do, it's only 5 seconds. Just look at this train. Spectacular, and just as we looked at that for the first time, we're seeing some overtakes happen at the front. Super Striker trying to defend the position here on the outside. I believe he's the one that has the DRS, and Mark Bowe now getting involved as well, trying to go the long way round, but he's got a bright red car ahead of him, and now going to try the long way round, doing the same thing as Super Striker is doing here. Super Striker to the inside though, trying to hold it as best he can and stick with Paul Jones. Paul Jones comes out on top at the end of the second sector, but only 2 corners until we get that DRS again. Oh, Super Striker is spun out and into the pit wall on the inside there, and I think he must have just been caught out with the drivers being so close together. And the other problem with all the drivers being so close together, he's fallen down by quite a bit. I suppose that doing that where he did it, it could have been worse. He's going very slowly into the pit lane as well, as Paul Jones has now got himself a little bit of a margin here, as Alex Noble sends it up the inside there at turn 3, and Bootneck losing a place. Chuck as well, I think, had a bit of a problem exiting turn 3, as Ross Northover getting past Alex Noble as well. And just after that spin, it's broken up everyone a little bit there. Everyone was very comfortable, and I said the last 2-3 laps might start to become something very different, and it certainly has, as Paul is trying to extend that lead. Oh, it's just teetering. Mark Bowe needs to get a very good final 2 corners. Looks like he has. Maybe thinking second place is a pretty good starting point. Just looking in his mirrors and hoping that Chuckle doesn't go for a move or doesn't get close enough to go for the move, as Alex Noble here sends it again to the inside and then gets cut off by Ross Northover. Was Ross in the right to do that there? Was Alex a little bit too late? Hard to tell. Hard to tell, I think. So only half a lap to go for some, but only a couple of corners to go for Paul Jones. There was a little bit of carnage in the last few laps, but he stayed out of trouble and he takes pole for the race and subsequently takes the win for the sprint. As Always Grinding's rounded into the wall as well. Both Ferraris have subsequently done the exact same thing in pretty much the same place. As Always Grinding's going to come across the line backwards. Oh, that's a big crash. Big crash there. Luckily, they'd crossed the line there, so that's not going to affect, unfortunately, for them, as we wait for Super Striker to finish the race as well. As he now rounds the final corner and can see 2 crash cars ahead of him. So Paul Jones, after starting in second, moves up a place to take pole for the race. Mark Bowe will be on the front row alongside him after starting 8th, so it's a very good job from him. Third place for Chuckle Murph in 4th after starting in 10th. Alex Noble starts 5th, 6th for Morph. 7th is Chuck. Bootneck is 8th. 9th is Ross Northover. Wookie is 10th. 11th is Always Grinding. Ben T. Smith is 12th, Little Majin is 13th, 14th is Percival, and ProLive 15th. Super Striker finished in 16th, and will obviously be starting last for the race. Bear with me just 1 second, guys. I'll be here for the start of the formation lap. So, tyres for everyone on this formation lap. Where are we looking? A bit of a mix here. 4 drivers on the hard tyres, 8 drivers on the mediums and 4 drivers on the soft. So a nice little mix here. It is saying a 1 stop now. That's perfect timing, wasn't it? Soft medium or medium soft? Medium hard or hard medium, and I'm assuming it'll be a soft hard or hard soft as well. Probably the more maybe preferable choice for drivers. If you're going to go for the hard tyre at any point, you will take a soft tyre along with it, I'm pretty sure. So top 4 though, all on the mediums. We'll see if Alex Noble gets a very good start. Bootneck the same. Interested to see how well the mediums will go. Sorry, the hards will go. Oh, one sec. Right, so we're all ready to get going. Paul Jones on the front row alongside Mark Bowe as we wait for those lights. We've got 2, 3, 4 and 5 of those lights. And we're away for the race here in Austria, and Paul Jones gets a very good launch here, as so does Mark Bowe. He gets alongside him into the Lauda curve, and Paul Jones stays ahead, but for how long? Wow, Chuckle is most definitely out, and Mark Bowe is very much in trouble and got himself some damage and is going to have that front wing change. But into turn one, Mark Bowe and Chuckle came together. I said for how long, I meant how long is Mark Bowe going to potentially be in the race. He still is, fortunately for him, but Chuckle is out crucially, and we've got a safety car after the first corner. I'm sure Chuckle is not going to be best pleased. And now a quick look back. To see what happens. Okay, so we go into turn one, side by side between the top two. Yeah, just Chuckle got a very good launch out of turn one. That's a lap one, turn one racing incident for me. Mark came across, but I don't think he realised how close Chuckle was after his excellent exit and not being involved in a scrap for first place. Yeah, obviously Chuckle not a happy boy right now, but I think it's just one of those things. I mean, he had to swing the had to swing any guilt on anyone. It would be who's more guilty than the other. It would be Mark, I think, and he's been able to stay in the race. Sorry, I just realised I was on mute there for the last 30 seconds or so. Anyway, safety car in this lap. Only had a couple of drivers who decided to pit, as Paul Jones gets away early there, and looks like he's caught Alex Noble unawares, actually, as he's almost 3/4 of a second ahead, going up the hill towards turn 1 as we get the race started again. Hopefully we'll make it past turn 1 for everyone, as we haven't done so far today. As we go up the hill, the soft tyres, the new soft tyres for Super Striker working well. His Pro Live has to brake quite a bit earlier than the Ferrari on the new soft tyres. Obviously done 3 laps under the safety car. So even though they are new, that's why they are saying 3 laps. Around turn 6 now coming up. The fast and really furious section of the circuit. Quite hard to follow through here as well. Not easy to get an overtake done. Maybe at turn 6, maybe here at turn 9 if someone gets a bit of a wobble out of turn 8, and looking like Benson Smith getting the wobble is Alex Noble on the inside at turn 1. The new soft tyres working well for him as they exit now, and obviously these guys still really on brand new sets. They have gone through a heat cycle, but only just. They did a warm-up lap and then really have had another few warm-up laps after that. Is Chuck now getting past Ross Northover, but once they get on the power, Ross Northover got something else to say about this here. Is Morph maybe caught in the middle of an overtake battle going on? Is Chuck now launches it up the inside there and barges his way through, and Ross Northover then eventually tries to follow him through as well, which he does, and more from 4th to 6th in just a couple of corners here through turn 7 and 8. The top 2 got themselves a slight bit of breathing space. Ah, thanks, Shuffle. Sorry about your start, mate. That was unfortunate. It's a bit crap, to be honest with you. Crap for you, I mean. Oh, getting a little bit close for comfort there between Morph and Always Grinding. Yeah, that's what I said. I thought it was a racing incident myself. Oh, here we go. Whoa, what on earth was that? Was that a bit of a desync from Always Grinding there, or not too sure? Which of the two? More the one that's had the incident. He's now holding up his teammate here as both Super Striker and Wookie get past him. He's going to have to go into the pits. Why do I get the feeling that was a bit of an internet issue rather than an Always Grinding issue? I'm going to be wrong. As I said, got to stay to the left-hand side of that white line coming into the pits. You're watching this close battle for 3rd place. Just up ahead, there's a close battle for 1st place as well, but not as close as this. Is Chuck trying to gain back the places he lost in the sprint. Got some very good pace about him as well. DRS now available, of course, for the first time in this race. And he's going to wait a few corners to get DRS back again as Benty Smith also getting very close to Super Striker. So you better keep an eye out for some overtakes on lap 8. So, making our way up the hill. Sorry, Chuckle, I haven't seen. Let me see that message. Hashtag come on Chuck from Chuckle there in the comments. Here goes Chuck to the inside. That right hand side breaks that little bit later. A Super Striker is in the pit lane. Early pit stop for him, and Chuck up into third place and got 3.5 seconds to catch Paul Jones, but he is within sight down the straights just. So much pace Chuck's got in his locker today. We've got a yellow flag. That is for Ben T. Smith. And Morph going back past Chuck again. Chuck going for the turn of favour. Up to turn 3. Blends out of the throttle. Of course, that's the conundrum that you face at turn 3. Whether you want the DRS or if you want the overtake, and hoping that you've got the straight line speed to defend into turn 4 and then try and break away literally within a handful of corners before DRS comes on at you again. And that's why we see these trains happen so often here at the Red Bull Ring. And Chuck opting to wait and get the DRS advantage down the back straight between turns 3 and 4. But it's got such a small amount of time, small amount of racetrack really to get out of DRS. It's virtually impossible unless the driver behind makes a mistake or there's just a massive tyre offset. Murph getting close here. Through turn 1, Pro Live getting another time penalty. Chuck trying to defend, but it's no good. Murph gets past and has DRS as well. Tying that right as Chuck's thinking about it again. Obviously getting frustrated with this as Ross Northover, I think, just touches the back of that Williams. Like I said before, this might be that chance now for Murph. Chuck had a bit of a mistake on the exit of turn 4, but it wasn't a big enough mistake to gain the time that he needed. Little Majin there getting himself a time penalty as well. In 7th, he's got Wookie and Mark Bow. And really, Bootneck right on his gearbox here as they all climb up the hill. Here goes Wookie, and here goes Mark Bow to the inside of the two of them. It's 3 wide at turn 3, and Mark Bow has got it done there. Little Majin going to try and fight back out of the traction zone and hopefully getting the better launch, but he's the only one without DRS, so it's going to be no use for him to make the overtake at turn 4. And now Wookie trying to get past Little Majin at turn 6. He's trying to go the long way round. Is it going to work? It certainly does. We've seen 2 lovely overtakes there in 3 corners. On to lap 13. After having quite a lot of excitement on lap 12. Oh, sorry, lap 11, it's now lap 12. And before you ask, it's not because I can't count numbers, because I always think it's going to change over when the driver I'm looking at is crossing the line, but it's only the leader it changes. So there you go, there's my excuse. Chuck was around 3.5 seconds when he got to this point in the pack to begin with. Only a few laps later, that time is pretty much doubled. And lost so much time fighting with Murph and Ross Northover. As we now go on to lap 3, Christ, I really can't count. Lap 13. Alex Noble now on that soft tyre, surely coming to the end of its life. I think we're having some connectivity issues here. It's Chuck now squeezes his way by, or maybe not, once he got on the loud pedal. The car didn't agree with what his right foot was asking it to do. Again though, take 2 for Chuck, and that second take is the one that's going in the production there, and turn 3 is going on the cutting room floor. Chuck there weaving, maybe just hinting at going into the pits, calling Murph's bluff. I'm not too sure why drivers do that so much now, because most don't follow each other in. They decide to do the opposite. Alex Noble is getting to a point soon where he is going to have to pit. As you can see, the drivers we were looking at in the background there. Is Murph going to go for it into turn 3 again? No, he's not. But again, Chuck looking like he struggles on traction zones, and as we're looking at those guys just up ahead, Alex Noble back into the lead again. But for how much longer, seeing as he's going to have to pit before Paul Jones. So it's going to be an undercut for Alex Noble. And not really on track by choice, it's just by how his strategy is going to work out for him. As we're getting close to half distance. And Paul Jones gets past again as the battle behind carries on like it has done ever since the end of the safety car on lap 3, at the start of lap 4. Chuck back into that third place spot again, deciding to take the lead of this pack. Not seeing what we saw in the sprint, where it was pretty much down to sort of 10th, 11th place, where there was a second between every car, less than a second, should I say, to every car. It's definitely more split now. Strategy obviously playing much more of a factor in the race. But of course we've had some instances as well, safety car. So that's made a difference as well. So Ross Northover has got himself a time penalty. He's got a 3-second time penalty, and one of 2 drivers in the top 10 that have got themselves time penalties. Hey John. Oh, there was some rain on the screen. I think John's joined at the perfect moment here. We were going to have crossover conditions. I'll be honest, I completely forgot. I'm pretty much at the halfway stage. We've got rain. But how quickly is it going to change conditions on the track? Of course, if it stayed like this, spitting, it would take a little while. Fortunately for the drivers, it's a short lap around here. the complete opposite from where we were in Saudi last week, or Belgium the week before that, the last live stream. Now, caution for everyone. Being cautious is going to play a factor in this. Having that confidence to keep the speed up, maybe go for overtakes in these conditions. They're driving almost into the unknown at the moment. And none of the top guys deciding to pit yet. Is always grinding, actually the first one to pit. He was on the soft tyres, and as he called this right, the rain's starting to get a bit heavier. And Bootneck deciding the same thing. As Percival goes past. Oh, sorry, apologies. Always grinding onto the soft tyre, hoping that the rain stays the same. That's an interesting call. Bootneck going on to the intermediates. Pro Live has as well, and Morph. Chuckle saying in the comments that he would go into the pits next lap, I'm presuming at the end of lap 19. Paul Jones decides to stay out another lap as well. Alex Noble, though, he can't afford to stay out many more laps, seeing as he's on that very used soft tyre. And John in the comments saying box, box, box. Oh, bit of a pit lane battle here, and Mark Bro gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as Wookie tried to get past him. Intermediate tyres on for them. Are they going to make the mother of all undercuts here? But I think the heavens really need to start to open now for that to happen. Surely Alex Noble's going to have to pit this time around, along with Paul Jones, but Alex Noble especially, because those tyres are not going to be in a good condition now. And they really aren't, actually. We've got the tyre wear for him, 74% all around on the tyres, and Alex Noble decides to stay out for another 2.6 mile tour of the Red Bull Ring. Percival surely in trouble here on the hard tyre. It's going so slowly through the first part of the last sector, turn 7 and 8, now up the hill to turn 9, and Mark and Wookie are going to be catching at a hell of a rate. I think it's, yeah, I think Chuckle's right, maybe it is, maybe not now. That's definitely a big change in the heaviness of the rain. I think it's the right word there. Maybe now is the right time. The weather's certainly getting worse, and the intermediates are going to start to really see a performance gain. Yeah, you see, good point. Sometimes I think, though, from a third-hand perspective, it looks wetter than it is, but sometimes I suppose when you've been driving the game so much, which I haven't this time around, get a better sense, but shame for always grinding as well, because maybe you should have stayed on that soft tyre for a few laps after making the mistake been going straight onto the intermediates. Maybe a new set of softs would have been a really good tyre at this point. But hey, hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? What do we think? End of lap 21, are we going to see the top 7, any of the top 7, make their way into the pits? But at the moment, it's at very strange conditions. It reminds me of a race I did years back now. It must have been up in 2020 or 21. So it might be probably 2020. The weather stayed like this the whole race, pretty much. It was dry for the first couple of laps and stayed like this the whole race. And it was really a crossover between the inters and dry tyres, and it was pretty much like it is now. It was kind of half and half. It was really interesting. And kind of got my fingers crossed for that to be the case and it to stay like this, because it is going to be pretty even Stevens between both dry and slick compounds. Yeah, he is good in these conditions, Chuckle, catching. Also, I would probably, I'm just going to play devil's advocate, 21 lap old soft tyres, not really at their best, and I think Alex is going to have to pit. But yeah, the weather's strange. The drivers don't really want to come in if they don't have to. Alex Noble has to now. Chuck comes in as well. Is it another set of slick tyres? Do they just go with how the conditions are at the moment? Or do they risk a set of intermediates for Alex Noble? It's intermediates for Chuck as well. But DRS still enabled. And since we said it was going to get wet, Chuckle, I don't feel like the track has changed all that much. It might now just starting to have water settle on the circuit as ProLive's car is retired and almost caused a nuisance for Chuck there. Yeah, it's a real crossover point. I'd love to see if someone takes a risk for a soft tyre, hoping it's going to stay like this or get a bit better. So, yeah, Chuckle saying it's a bit of a crossover. It's definitely starting to go more towards intermediates now, as Ross Northover now decides he needed to pit. And I think Chuck and Alex have both gained a bit of time on Paul Jones. And I believe, do we still have DRS enabled? We certainly do. Got DRS for Percival here, trying to get closer to Always Grinding, who decides to go on the soft tyre, obviously making a mistake, but it potentially might have been a blessing in disguise, which he didn't take, as Percival, again with DRS, going past Always Grinding. There's weather on the, there's water on the track, but there's not a lot of spray. But I have to admit that was far more realistic than normal. It took a long time for the track to get some sitting water on the circuit. Alex Noble looking good in these conditions, almost within 1 second. of Paul Jones. Like I said, Paul winning the last 3 races on the bounce. He's won every race he's taken part in this season. Alex Nolan in the Alfa Romeo. Wasn't around for a few races, and nor has he been around the last couple as well. I think he may have DNF'd. I'm not too sure if there is a difference on the standings, but he hasn't got any points for some time now. And we now finally have DRS disabled. But that was a long time in mixed conditions. Obviously now we are into damp/wet conditions. And Chuckle makes a good point. I wonder if anyone's gone for a wet setup. Probably not. So when we cross the line next time around, we're going to have 10 laps to go. And again, pretty even Stevens between the top 2. Lapping within a tenth of one another. That's going to be an issue for him, isn't it? Alex Noble getting a 3-second time penalty. So definitely can't afford to relax now. Paul Jones maybe thinking the opposite, maybe thinking he can relax a little bit at this point. Wookie is out. That could be a safety car. It's in a dangerous location. Or is he just retired on track? He has retired on track for whatever reason. So ignore me. There won't be a safety car. The 2 Ferraris going close together here. Mark Bowe getting past McLaren. I think that would have been Wookie, was it? Who's the other car? What's going on here with ghosted cars and things? As Ben T. Smith is out, as I'm trying to work out who's ghosting for who, and we've got the safety car out once again. I wonder if driver is going to pit for a new set of intermediates. Oh, Alex. I mean, you've got to stay to the left-hand side. And there is Ben Smith's car that has just disappeared. So, had an issue on the exit of the final corner. And it was quite an easy place to lose it. Paul Jones going on to a new set of intermediates and going to be dropping down to 5th, maybe. No, it can't be 6th because that's Morph who's down in 12th place. Sorry, I've been a bit quiet. I just decided to have a drink and whatnot. Little Majin deciding to come into the pits for a new set of intermediates. I was going to say he's decided that a bit late, but there's still quite a big gap to the next car, being Bootneck just coming around the final corner now with Percival. Not sure if we'll see the safety car in this lap again. So, safety car in this lap. If you're all watching, Morph decided to make his own Red Bull Ring, and Alex Noble goes very early, just like Paul Jones did at the first safety car. He doesn't catch Chuck Chuck was the one watching. Chuck out. As we go up the hill towards turn 3, Morph in the pits. I think he's going to retire from the race. As Paul Jones trying to go up the inside of Ross Northover. Is Ross going to get the switch back here on the exit? There's Paul trying to get back to the lead pack. Already up to third, the new intermediate tyre working well for him here. Oh, who's that into the wall? It's Murph, he's round. Obviously got ghosting on, as you can see. He's gone onto the gravel. We've got to be careful not to actually get beached there. And around onto the track he goes and gets himself sorted around the final 2 corners for the lead pack here. Alex Noble, I think, really is, unfortunately, unless the other 2 make mistakes. Check how many warnings they've both got. So Chuck has got 2 warnings. And what we're looking like in terms of Paul. Paul's got no warnings at all, so he's looking in a very good spot in terms of that scenario playing out. So Chuck's got to be ultra careful to stay within track limits and to stay ahead of Paul Jones, but that's not going to happen as they go through turn 7. Paul Jones has got himself up into 2nd place, and with the time penalty of Alex Noble that Alex Noble has got, it's net first for Paul Jones. But just remember, he's got Chuck and Mark Bowe just behind him. Neither of them will have DRS though, of course, in these conditions now, as it was disabled. Always grinding, getting a 3-second time penalty. 4 laps to go, including the one we're on. Here goes Paul Jones, trying to get his buffer. Alex, of course, is still going to be fighting, hoping that others get time penalties. Maybe he's fought a little too hard there. Because Chuck has got past him. As Alex was looking to the inside, he's still there. The inside, though, at turn 5. It's the outside at turn 6. And goes into the back of Chuck. And Chuck now going wide as well. Mark Bowe getting involved as well as that. And Alex Noble then barges through. It's left Chuck again being caught out and getting into trouble with other cars. Not necessarily his fault, but he's in the same scenario he's in the sprint. He's down to 10th place. And the win, surely, now off the cards for Chuck. And it's looking like Paul Jones is going to be taking another win in a row. Unstoppable at the moment. Oh, sorry about that. I just realised I was on mute. Real apologies. Sorry, I haven't been on my A game today at all. Percival getting close to the back of Mark Bowe as we go on to the final lap. And here goes Mark Bowe with the better launch out of the final corner, but it's no use up to the braking zone of turn 1. He's going to hope to have another go, get a better launch out of the Lauda curve, which he does. He pulls out from behind the aero of De Haas, moves from the left to the right, the outside to the inside. He's later on the brakes. He doesn't get given a lot of space at the inside, does he? But he makes it work. It pays off for him. But is he going to hold on to it on the exit of turn 4? Percival as well, moving to the inside. Looks like Mark Bowes up into 7th place. Super Striker with 6 seconds of penalties as Paul Jones rounds the final corner. It's 4 out of 4 for the Brit in the Aston, and he wins the Austrian Grand Prix. Little Majin, is he going to finish in 2nd? I think he is. The Super Striker crosses the line in 4th. Is Bootneck going to move up a place? He does. Don't think Mark Bowe will though. And it was almost a drag race to the line between Ross Northover and Percival. As always, Grinding goes off the track there. And I think he was going to be able to keep hold of 9th if he hadn't made that spin, but he is going to lose 9th place. And we now just wait for Morph and Murph, who rounds us out. And that's the end of round 9 of 12. So, we'll have a quick look at the final standings. Paul Jones makes it 4 wins on the bounce. It's a win today in the sprint and a win in the race. Lil Majin finished in 2nd place. 3rd place was Alex Noble. 4th was Bootneck. Super Striker was 5th. 6th was Mark Bowe. Ross Northover was 7th. 8th was Percival. Chuck was 9th. Always Grinding was 10th. And the last driver to score points, Murph, was 11th. 12th, Morph. And he was 1 lap down. Benty Smith was the first one not to finish. He also got the fastest lap. The other drivers not to finish was Wookie, ProLive and Chuckle. So that's it for round 9 here in Burnt Rubber. We'll be back next week in Abu Dhabi, and make sure to all be back on the channel tomorrow night for GP2's finale race in Qatar with the full qualifying session. As I said, 3 points between Pepper Kennedy and Chuck. Make sure to tune in to find out who is going to be crowned season 15 champion of GP2. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Keep subscribing to the channel. Let's get to 380 subscribers by the end of the season of racing. Give us a few weeks to do that, and we'll see how close we can get. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Until tomorrow with me and Lee, just goodbye till then.